bumped into each other. The one said to the other, "I think I've lost an electron." To which the other one said, "Are you sure?" And the first one replied, "I'm positive." That's as far as my science goes. And this joke was told to me by this robot. Does anybody know who this robot is? Her name is Sophia. And her claim to fame, or one of her many claims to fame, is that she is the first robot to have received national citizenship of a country. And which country? Saudi Arabia. Close. Very close. Very close. So you see, there was a clue on the table. But so I just want to echo what Jansi was saying, that as much as we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, and it's something that's going to happen to us in the future, we are actually living in it. And the Department of Science and Technology, in the white paper on science, technology and innovation, came with a very eloquent decision or definition of what the fourth industrial revolution is. And where they're talking about the blurring of the lines between the physical, the biological, and the digital. So often when people talk about the fourth industrial revolution, it's as though it's only the digital sphere that matters. But that's only one of the three spheres that are happening. And if you look at what Sophia is doing, and do yourself a favor, there's a very nice YouTube video that talks about Sophia going deep. And the first question that is asked to Sophia is, what is God? And she actually has an answer. So the fourth industrial revolution does not only challenge what we are doing and how we are doing things and why we are doing things, it is challenging us as humankind as to who we actually are as human beings. And I'm going to come back to that later. I just want to give you a bit of a summary of the story that I'm going to tell for those who want to relax a bit after a stressful traffic driving here. So first point, I think agreeing with what Jansi said, is that we are living in the fourth industrial revolution. Second point is that as Africa, with all the many challenges that we have, we should be a leader in mining for the fourth industrial revolution, not the victim, so as our Minister Mantashe continues to remind us. There are VUCA challenges associated with mining for the fourth industrial revolution. And for those of you who don't know what VUCA means, you'll have to pay attention up to that point. And then I just want to explain a bit of how we are working together with other stakeholders on finding people-centered solutions to the fourth industrial revolution and mining in it. And then I want to conclude with my firm belief that fourth industrial revolution is impossible without mining. So please join us in our journey. So here you see the famous periodic table, 150 years old, that we celebrate this year. And you will see some of the elements that come up. And I'm glad to see Jansi, carbon is highlighted. These are some of the ordinary elements that we used to, and these are ones that are actually important to the fourth industrial revolution. And as you see, the whole periodic table is starting to fill up. So it's actually easier going to be to say what is not going to be included in the fourth industrial revolution than what is. And of course, the carbon, we're looking at the low carbon future, but carbon is still going to be critical to that future. So these are some of the aluminiums, the lithiums, and those ones that many of us are quite familiar with. But then I want to show you this picture. The mobile phone, that piece of technology that we cannot live without, the piece of technology that finds who we are. Our Twitter handle and our Instagram profile says very much of who we are as individuals. And you see the elements that are actually in this mobile phone. I'm always very intrigued when people, cell phone in one hand and jewelry on the finger, will stand up and shout, "We need to stop mining." And then you look at this, and you see that there are about 30 elements in your mobile phone that are actually mined. So it just gives you some of the detail. I want you to just take note of the heading, which talks about the recycling rate of smartphone metals. I'm going to come back to that later. Now, Janzi, I was very happy that you said that this is not a scientific conference, because I'm a scientist by training, but a generalist by practice. So some of these names I even struggle to pronounce, get my tongue twisted around. But I think for most of you in the room, you will be familiar with all these elements. Then we look at the green technologies for the future. The solar technologies, the wind technologies, the electric vehicles, all part of the future. Now, you count the number of elements there, which I did, and again it comes to about 25 elements. And that is only if you take the rare earths. There's about 17 rare earth elements. I've just taken the 3 that are mentioned on this slide, and I had to practice this. So it's dysprosium and neodymium and praseodymium. Not getting this right. I can see the scientists smiling. But these are the elements that we need for the future if we want to go towards these green technologies. So the rare earths, a very important component, not ones that come easy off the tongue and that we're that familiar with, but very, very important for the future. Now let's come back to the point of Africa. Janzi, I'm not sure that you didn't know what I was going to talk about, because the messaging seemed to be very well coordinated. So yes, we're in the 4th Industrial Revolution, and yes, Africa can absolutely play a leading role in the 4th Industrial Revolution. We are known for the mineral wealth that we so blessed with in this continent. So this is just one of many diagrams that you could see with all the different projects that are actually happening on the African continent that looks at mining and related processing activities. But I want to be a bit more specific and talk about the Africa's mining mineral resources specifically for the 4th Industrial Revolution. So last year there was this report done by the World Bank that talked about the minerals for the low carbon future. And this was one of their conclusions, that Southern Africa and Guinea are absolutely vital for the growing demand in platinum, manganese, bauxite, and also chromium. And just bear those minerals in mind when we come to talk about the ones that South Africa is so richly blessed with. Then this was another report from the East African publication which talked about the minerals in your cell phone, as I mentioned it earlier. And here you can just see some of the minerals that are being mentioned: copper, gold, and silver, very much the usual suspects in the DRC and Zambia, but still very, very important. Tantalum in the coltan ores, also in the DRC, Rwanda, and Uganda. Arsenic minerals, not only being used for poisoning people, but also using for the good purposes. So they are very much in South Africa. And then you also have tungsten. Tungsten we used to think of in those in the light bulbs, but that is now old technology. But you still need them for your phone, for the vibrating motor weights. And those you get in Rwanda, you get them in Burundi and Uganda. Clearly the bias towards the East African part. Now, if I can come a bit closer to home, Chairperson Luzibu from our Minerals Committee is here, and he gives us a hard time on so many things, but I think the one thing that we agree on is that we very richly blessed in this country with mineral resources, including mineral resources for the fourth industrial revolution. So this is just one list of all the minerals that we find in South Africa, and just look at the ranking on the very right-hand side. And you will see that most of these minerals, we are actually in the top 10 in the world in terms of our reserves. It's only the iron ore one, including the Bushveld complex, that we are not in the top 10. But all the other ones, platinum group metals, uranium, vanadium, zirconium, all of those we've got in lots of resources. So let me just talk about one of these group of metals, which is the platinum group metals. And this is, yeah, you can clearly see they have no image problem. They think they are absolutely awesome. And they are awesome, because they are protecting against the wear and tear. Unfortunately, I don't wear my wedding ring, but I've got a wedding ring, and it's made of platinum. And I do wear it often. And yeah, it is just amazing. It lasts. The longer our marriage, it seems, the stronger it gets. And that's the marriage, not the ring. It's very resistant to chemical attacks, excellent dealing with high temperatures, and very stable electrical properties as well. So yeah, there you get the various ones, rubidium, you get rhodium, palladium, osmium, iridium, platinum. You know, so often we talk about the platinum mines, and we only think about platinum. But there's all these other minerals that come with it, and that we are, as much as we're blessed with the platinum group metals, we are having all these different SHEQs, and there are other supplementary ones with them as well. Then I want to talk about a mine that I don't know whether anybody has ever heard about it, Steenkampskraal. Who has ever heard of that mine? There's one person, at least another person heard about it. It claims to be the highest grade rare earth mine in the world. And nobody has heard about it. And its rare earths are absolutely critical for the future, the fourth industrial revolution. And here are some of the minerals that are in that deposit. The neodymium, terbium, cerium, all those exotic minerals that we don't so often hear about, but that are critical to our future and the fourth industrial revolution. I must say, when I was doing the research for this paper, I was very excited to discover this picture of Africa and to see how many projects are actually going on in Africa, specifically looking at rare earths. Many of them which I haven't been aware of, so that is actually very encouraging, mainly in sub-Saharan Africa. And look at this. This is only that Steenkampskraal mine, where they looked at the minerals that they can potentially mine in that particular mine, and what the uses of that will be. And now you will tell me whether you use these things or not. So one is the batteries. We just got the elements of cerium, lanthanum, and neodymium. They are used in the batteries of cell phones. Who has not got a cell phone in this room? Computers. Who does not have a computer in this room? Bless you, sir.
Who doesn't have two?
That may be easier, yes. Fuel cells. The Minerals Council of South Africa boasts to have the biggest commercial fuel cell in the country. So when the rest of the country is crying because of load shedding, the Minerals Council continues with its work. So that one is not so usual as yet. Hybrid and electrical vehicles, also something of the future. But who of you drive a diesel vehicle? Couple of hands there. So in all the diesel vehicles of today, they've got catalytic converters, and those catalytic converters have got various elements, definitely the platinum group metals, but then you see here also it's got some cerium in, which is one of the rare earths. Air conditioners. Who doesn't use an air conditioner? Yes, but fortunately with the times that we do have the electricity on, then we can use the electricity. Then there's glass, of course, there's phosphors that are used in the cell phones as well. So this is just from one mine in our country. This is all the possible uses from those minerals. Then we come to something that you may regard as a bit more of a boring mineral. That is zinc. I may say that has been around for a very long, long time. So here we see President Ramaphosa and Minister Mantashe at the opening of the Vedanta zinc mine in the end of February. It's called the Gamsberg mine. It's also in the Northern Cape. So look, you think about zinc and you think, well, we've been using that and often for all the wrong reasons. But look at these future uses of zinc in agriculture. That 60% of all the soils in India and in China are depleted in zinc. And China, which I think we all know is a big market, is now, as said, all the fertilizers have to have zinc in them to actually get over that depleting of the zinc resources. And why I'm mentioning this example, apart from the fact that it's very exciting for us that there's a new mine opening, there's not many of them, is that this is the kind of futures that we need to look at as the mining cluster. And I'm including there the manufacturing sector and all of them. And that is to find and mine these new deposits of these exotic minerals. Find them and mine them in a way that will be globally competitive. That the world will come to Africa for our rare earths than rather just relying on China at the moment. And then the other opportunity, which is the Gamsberg opportunity, is where we look at new uses or new markets for our ordinaries, the ones that have been around for many years. So I just want to link this to the National Development Plan that Jansi has also spoken about, to say this is where we need to look at for the future. Is that these are the opportunities to create new jobs, to create new businesses, to create new markets, and create new jobs. So let me come on to some of the challenges that we face as much as we would like to mine for the fourth industrial revolution. So the first challenge that we always emphasize is the human and social changes that are happening around us. So on the one hand, you have a growing individualism. On the other hand, you have a growing inequality. And those things tend to strain our human relations day by day. And you have something that, like Facebook, which was originally established to connect people and to build relationships and to bring people together, and now getting abused for all the wrong kind of reasons because of these social challenges that we face. But then if you look at the changes within businesses and organizations, increasingly businesses, including mining companies, are recognizing that their sole purpose is not just the pursuit of profit, but improving society. And then the third one, I think we can all bear testimony to in our current context, in our South African context. If you look at the political, the economics, and the environmental changes, the operating context is just becoming increasingly volatile and unpredictable. And this is not only in South Africa. You only have to look at Brexit and the US and many other countries to see what is happening. And then with the technology, if we have to look at the technology change, the good news is that eventually the technology will become invisible. Like it is in Sophia, you can still see, if you saw in the picture, there was a bit of wiring at the back of her head, but eventually this will become invisible. It will become part of us. It will augment what we're doing, and it will be artificially intelligent. So let's just come back to the VUCA challenges. I really like it. It sounds like a VUMA word. So anybody knows what this VUCA stands for? There's a couple of clues in the slide.